Hello and welcome back to the Not Old Firm YouTube channel. My name is Ben Banks, here to quickly look back on the weekend's fixtures. Plenty of interesting results, some slightly surprising results, some we probably could have predicted before a ball was kicked. So we'll go through them quickly. Celtic 6, Livingston 0, Hamilton 0, Dundee United 1, Kilmarnock 2, Ross County 2, Motherwell 1, St Mirren 0, St Johnstone 0, Aberdeen 1 and Rangers 2, Hibs 1 was your weekend results. Leaves the table, Rangers and Celtic occupy the top two spots. Hibs' gap in third is now cut down to fourth. Aberdeen still in that fourth position. Livingston in fifth, albeit they are now 8 points behind Aberdeen in fourth with 4 games to go, so that looks a bit out of reach for Livingston. And for St Johnstone, they are on 40 points in sixth, now needing to win all their games and needing a considerable swing in goals to have a chance of reaching the top four. So probably fair to say that's probably unlikely for them. It'll either be fifth or sixth for the Saints. Well, it's been a great season for Callum Davidson's side. In the bottom six, Dundee United move into seventh with their victory over Hamilton, and Mullows win over the other side of Lanarkshire against St Mirren. St Mirren are in eighth, also on 40 points. Dundee United on 42 points. Mullows' big win moves them clear of the relegation danger, at least for now. It looks like with 9 points clear of the bottom two. With 4 games to go, looks like Mullow will be playing Scottish Premiership football next season. And the bottom three is where it's really tight. Ross County on 30 points, Kilmarnock on 29, and Hamilton Academical on 27. So, yep, very, very tight in that bottom three. That's probably the 3 teams you're going to watch over the course of the rest of this season. Pretty much most other teams know where or whereabouts they're going to be playing and what next season holds for them in terms of European football, things like that. Livingston, we'll start with them. Celtic beating them 6-0, just a day to forget for Davy Martindale's side. They didn't turn up. It's hard to dissect. I think in the context of their season, you can't really look too much into the start. I suppose the only thing you could look at is that they've started really badly, were incredible in the middle part of it, and now at the end of the season, they've perhaps, it's almost a mix of the two bits of form. They've played really well in some games and then pretty awfully in some of the other games. But this one definitely want to forget. You don't really associate Livingston with getting these sort of drubbings of Celtic and Rangers. They are usually able to limit those games to being tight, couple of goals in them here or there. But this one's a completely different story. Celtic with their best performance, at least in the league this season, coincided with Livingston's worst. Bit of a recipe for disaster with Davy Martindale's side, but one they'll move on from pretty swiftly. Hamilton 0, Dundee United 1, a big game at the bottom. Hamilton probably wondering how they never took any points from this. 27 shots on goal, none of them hit the net. Benjamin Seeger is very good for Dundee United as they secure their Scottish Premiership safety as well and take a good foothold in the race for 7th with St Mirren. And even you can maybe throw Mullows' name into that hat now as well, now that they look all but safe in the Scottish Premiership. So, big result for Dundee United in terms of just securing that Scottish Premiership status, but perhaps a chance missed, should I say, for Hamilton, given Kilmarnock and Ross County's draw in Ayrshire. But we heard from Brian Rice and Mickey Mellon at the end of this one. Mickey Mellon went with the Doncaster Rovers job in recent days. Brian Rice couldn't have been prouder of his Hamilton players who were decimated by injuries once again, whereas Mickey Mellon delighted with Scottish Premiership safety.
I can't believe we didn't win the game. My personal and my players' point of view, I can't believe we never won the game. Never mind drawing it. You know, the amount of chances and the way we played, that's the best we've played this season by a long way. By a long way, that's the best we've played. I thought it was coming, you know, when you've got that much possession and you're playing as well as I thought we were playing and we were creating chances, you know. You expect one to go in. But it's just one of the days it didn't go in and we made a mistake at the other end and we got punished for it. So Dundee United's done a job on us, but can't be any more proud than I am with my players today, the way we played. Absolutely phenomenal. I thought the response to going a goal behind. Exactly what I got, Bill. No fear. No fear. I keep saying that about the young ones. I put young Kyle Monroe in today. I thought he was outstanding. Absolutely no fear for any of them today. I was delighted what I got with them today. I'm obviously really disappointed in the result. I'm gutted for the boys today because the effort they put in and we know how big the game was. and not to take anything from it. I think it's hard to take at this minute in time, but once I go back and reflect, and I'll pick all the positives out of it, and I'll be well picking the positives out, because there was loads of positives. You know, we just need to make sure that we don't get too down about this. Yeah, we're disappointed, of course we are, but don't get too down about it, because we've a big derby match coming up next, and if we can take that performance into that, we'll give ourselves a chance.
A great win, another clean sheet. First time I think we've won on 4G for a long time. So pleased about that. Pleased that we now know that we're going to play in the Scottish Premiership next season, if they're just coming up. In terms of us as in development, I'd like to have seen it been better with the football. Build a little bit better and all the rest of it, but that's just me being a manager who wants to keep developing my players and keep getting them better. We're better than what we showed at times technically, but we created a lot of chances that we could have made the afternoon a bit more comfortable for ourselves. But at the end of the day, we've got that valuable 3 points on the road. They're finding ways of winning now, even when we don't believe we're playing the style that we want to try and get at times. But it's a valuable 3 points at a difficult place to come.
Kilmarnock to Ross County fighting back twice from behind at Rugby Park to salvage a point. Couple of goals for Kilmarnock in the first sort of 30 minutes, and a really frantic start. The game died down a wee bit, and by full time it was 2-each. Ross County doing about enough, and perhaps could have won it on another day. Kilmarnock have looked a wee bit better under Tommy Wright in the last couple of games, but again they needed to improve a wee bit to get anything from this, and perhaps a draw was the fair result from this one. Doesn't really help either team, doesn't really damage them, at least at this point, too much. So these are the two for Kilmarnock, Ross County and Hamilton. The games against each other are going to be the biggest, and for Kilmarnock and Ross County, they are now one of the three down, and it's a share of the spoils. So for either of them, the only thing you could say is that Hamilton perhaps breathing a sigh of relief, as it means they are not in danger of getting cut adrift just yet. There's a potential for 5-point gap to be created, but it's down only a couple of points, which isn't too bad. But we heard from Kilmarnock manager Tommy Wright at the end of this one, who thought Zech Medley was perhaps fouled in the build-up to one of Ross County's goals, but in the end they couldn't have any complaints about a draw.
That always is the case. We asked for a fast start, we got it. Conceded far too early and too cheaply for my liking, and Ross County made it difficult for us. We didn't get into any rhythm in the first half, even though we went 2-1 up. We didn't move the ball quickly enough. I think we were a bit one-dimensional at times in the first half. So it was, it's never nice when you concede that quickly after taking the lead. But fair play to the players, they scrapped and got us ahead, at half time. But again, we spoke at half time about making sure we have a good start in the second half, and Ross County really, even though the equaliser looks as if there's a push in Zach, that they probably deserved to be level with us, and it probably wasn't until the last 20-25 minutes that we took any real control of the game. And we'd in that space with 2 or 3 good opportunities, but couldn't get that third goal, which would have given us a victory.
Mull 1, St Mirren 0. Jamie McGrath is human. He missed a penalty. Liam Kelly saved it. A game again, probably a draw would have been a fair result, but St Mirren's story of the season, and the reason they've missed out in top 6, has been they can't put the ball in the back of the net consistently, and it cost them again. In this one, Devante Cole's second half goal ceiling, a slender win for Mull. Mull haven't had many of these victories this season where they don't really play very well and they still get the win. A lot of the time when Mull don't play very well, it usually ends pretty badly. But they have managed to get the victory in this one, much to the delight of Graham Alexander. Liam Kelly, on loan from QPR and goals, was a big part of that, and Graham Alexander would love to keep him beyond some.
Yeah, it's something that we spoke to Liam about, and we did speak to his club about as well quite a while ago, to be honest. And when Liam sort of mooted that he'd be interested in coming back next year, so it's gone a bit on the back burner for now, because we've been trying to get permanent players re-signed and everything. But yeah, that's a conversation for. Listen, he's not our player, we understand that, but you know, if his future lies elsewhere outside of QPR, then we'd certainly be interested, because he's a great character, he's done great for us. Big moment for him, because he knows in the last league game he made a mistake, which he sort of, I think he's still whipping himself about, because he's such a good pro. But that was a massive save for us today, and you know, he doesn't have to make up anything, because he's been fantastic since the day he walked in, and it'd be great to keep him. Yeah, look, I think I said previously when the squad was named, that I'm sure there's a pool of players outside of that squad that Steve Clarke's well aware of, and I know Liam is one of those guys, and he's got great ambitions. He wants to be in the squad, but you know, Scotland are blessed with some real good players at the moment, and but performances that he's shown since he came in certainly put him in the line. So you know, he's not let the disappointment of not being in the last one affect him, and he's ready when called upon, you know, both for club and country. So you know, look, we're all hopeful, because we all want our individual players to have the best careers and achieve the biggest things, and you know, if it was to happen, then we'd be so pleased for him. And but there's other good players that he has to try and compete with.
And in Perth, Paul Sheeran's final game in interim charge of Aberdeen, finishing a 1-0 victory for the Dons. Again, they weren't great in this, but considering they were playing a St Johnstone side away from home, somewhere they haven't had much luck in recent years, on a run of 1 goal, I think, in 10 games, or something silly like that. I think it's now 2 goals in 11 games, 11 or 12 games for Aberdeen. So still not great. They weren't 100% perfect in this one, but they did enough to grind out the victory. A lot better in the second half. St Johnstone perhaps not quite hitting the levels they've shown in recent weeks. But Paul Sheeran believes that new manager Stephen Glass coming in this week has a good platform to build on.
Yeah, please in. It's always a tough place to come. Never many classics between the two teams, and you always have to work for your 3 points, and it was certainly the case this afternoon. I thought they started the game poorly. They probably overplayed. We've asked them to play a certain way, and maybe they've took that too literally and invited too much pressure. I thought when we worked that out a wee bit mid first half, we were slightly better without carrying too much of a threat. Second half we asked for more forward runs, and that ultimately gets us the goal with the 3 points with Matty's good play and Johnny's goal. So overall, really pleased that we've came away with 3 points, and it was a vital 3 points for us to start the split fixtures now. Yeah, I think it's a different circumstance. Normally you come into clubs where they're struggling, whether that be league position or whatever, and the club aren't at. Obviously we're in a strong position to be in Europe again next year, as we've done consistently for the last few years. They've got a brilliant group of players who are willing to work hard. They've got a great appetite to be successful, so it can only be a good thing coming in at this stage, and I'm sure the manager's aware of that.
And finally, Rangers 2, Hibs 1. Pretty much deja vu from the Boxing Day fixture at Ibrox. Hibs doing quite well, creating a few chances. They did actually manage to get on the score sheet this time, as opposed to the 1-0 defeat in December. But again, a couple of Rangers moments of quality just completely undone them. Interesting battle on the left-hand side, Josh Doig and Nathan Patterson. Or the right-hand side, sorry. Probably a glimpse into Scotland's future national team level, perhaps, albeit the left-back slot has got a fair bit of competition for Josh Doig, but especially for Nathan Patterson. Perhaps a future Scotland right-back, and that was an interesting battle in this one. But Hibs' gap in third has been cut, and they will now... it's still all in their own hands. They're still 3 points ahead with 4 games to go. They have got Livingston and St Johnstone at home in their next couple of fixtures before a massive game away to Aberdeen. If they can pull away from Aberdeen in these next couple of fixtures, if they can get victories over Livingston and St Johnstone, then they don't need to worry about the last 2 games away to Aberdeen and at home to Celtic. But if they can't, then perhaps that Pittodrie fixture does become of the utmost importance in the middle of May. And as well as that, Hibs have still got the Scottish Cup to contend with as well. A fairly decent route to the semi-final for them. Stranraer away this weekend, and then a home tie with Mull or Greenock Morton if they get through that. So a very achievable route back to the Scottish Cup semi-finals for Jack Ross's side. Beaten in last season's semi-finals, this season and we're also beaten in the League Cup semi-finals, so they'll be wanting to go one step further. At least they'll be hoping 2 steps further in that competition, but still the potential for a really good end to the season for Hibs. Right, that's all we get time for on this review. We hope you have enjoyed. Do remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We'll have an exclusive interview with someone who's just recently left the Scottish Premiership and may or may not be within a shout of the Scotland squad should his form pick up in the next few weeks. So do check that out when it drops in the channel. I think it'll be Thursday for that one. And we'll also have Scottish Cup previews and reviews now that the fixtures have been confirmed finally in the midst of a few fixture reshuffles. So we'll bring you all that updates later in the week. So we hope you have enjoyed. Do remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time.